Kings and queens, welcome back to my channel. Today's post is about my happy spring cakes. When spring hit, I was in the mood to make something special, so I decided to make a couple of cakes. And here we go. So the first thing I did was make 2 separate Italian meringue buttercreams because I made 2 different cakes. This process was very precise. You have to do everything precisely correct for the meringue to turn out right, for the buttercream to turn out perfectly. It is so flavorful, but you've got to do it correctly. So the first time I tried this recipe, it bombed. Everything went well until the last stage where you're adding butter. You've got to follow directions to the T. Well, anyway, here I go. I'm separating the egg whites, and I'm also boiling the water-sugar combination. Once the water-sugar combination gets to 230 degrees, because I had my little candy thermometer, once it gets to 230 degrees, you start beating the egg whites. You're going to beat them until they become white. They turn stiff and they start to make peaks. You'll see it once you're beating it. You have to beat it on its highest speed, and that's what we're doing right here. Once the candy thermometer gets to 250 degrees, you take it off the fire and you add it to the mixture. That's what we're doing right here. Do it very slowly and cautiously because it's hot. You don't want it to splash back up. And secondly, the heat of this mixture is cooking the egg whites as you're mixing. Continuing to stir the mixture on its highest speed. Now you're getting ready to incorporate vanilla flavoring. I continue to beat for the suggested time in the recipe below. Then I added 1 cup of cookie butter to make this a cookie butter buttercream. Continue to beat for the requested time. And the buttercream is done. Then at that point I refrigerated. Now I get started on the cookies for my cookie cake. This is actually the best chocolate chip cookie recipe I've ever made in my whole entire life. With the cookie recipe as well as the cake recipe coming up later, I realized that the process is the same. You're getting your dry ingredients together, and then you're going to mix them well with a whisk, and then you're going to cream your butter and sugar for both of the recipes, but I'll go through this one first. You're putting in your salt with your flour, and this is baking powder and baking soda, and then you take the whisk and you mix it all very well together. The flour is sifted for both recipes as well. You continue to mix, and now you're going to cream your butter and sugar. This bowl contains light brown sugar and granulated sugar along with butter. I'm going to add the vanilla flavor to the recipe right now. I'm going to beat, I believe it was medium speed, for 5 to 8 minutes until the butter is creamed and a fluffy texture. Now it's time to incorporate the chocolate chips. You're going to mix the chocolate chips with a wooden spoon throughout the cookie dough by hand. You're going to do it slowly and make sure they're incorporated throughout the entire mixture. No chocolate chip left behind. Now it's time to bake. You put them out on your cookie sheet. I baked each cookie from 12 to 15 minutes, all depending on your oven. I made 1 large cookie because that's supposed to go on the cake as well. And now it's time to make this 8 pounds of vanilla cake for my 2 cakes. We started off separating the dry ingredients as mentioned earlier, and now we're going to cream the white sugar, butter, vanilla flavoring. Just like the last recipe, we're going to cream on medium speed for 5 to 8 minutes until the mixture is light and fluffy and ready to incorporate the wet and dry ingredients. Here I am adding the wet and dry ingredients, alternating between the two. creamy, delicious vanilla cake batter is done. 8 pounds of it, y'all. And then so I separated half by putting chocolate chips in the cake mix and then a little bit of a surprise in the second one. Here is the first cake. I added Butterfinger Crush. Thanks, Ayana, for the tip. I also added these shimmery sprinkles to the second cake along with some carrot cake caramels. Delicious. I sprinkled them with a little bit of gold dust because why wouldn't I have gold dust sitting around my house? You should as well. And these are the cakes. And so now I'm cutting the second cake first. This one is a checkerboard cake. I used my mother's 3 favorite colors. She said a pale orange, turquoise, and pink are her favorite colors. So I wanted to make this cake especially for her. So this is a checkerboard cake for my mom. It's my second time making one. I'll make it again. I have a couple other tweaks, but this was amazing. She loved it. The family loved it. And it's very cute and springy, if springy is a word. Now it's time to cut the chocolate chip cookie cake. Once I finished the cake mix process, I halved it, so I have 4 pounds and 4 pounds of cake. I added the chocolate chips to one half, and the other half I used this gel food coloring, and I colored the batters, and they look like this. And I added some of the gold flakes to the second batter, and you'll see the gold flecks on the outside of the baked cake here. I then used my Cupcake Addiction's recipe to make marshmallow fondant. The fondant came out amazing. I followed it to the T. It worked very well, but I need some crafting lessons because I attempted to make a unicorn. And my unicorn, let's just say she didn't make the cut. I nicknamed her Tubby because I thought that was a good name for her. These are my springtime inspired cakes, and I was glad to make them. I will tell you that chocolate chip cookie cake is the best cake I've ever eaten in my life. Thanks again for coming by my channel to watch this video. I hope you either bake a great cake or come by and have a piece of mind. Either way, I thank you for stopping by. We also had enough to make a couple of the chocolate chip cupcakes. Well, we'll be cooking again soon.